just 150 limited editions copied, numbered and signed. And where are the girls? There she is. I want to thank my editor and manager and stylist, Gudrun in the red jacket, for all her fantastic help. The best editor I've ever worked with in my life. And I couldn't have done this book without her. Give her a good hand. Gudrun. All right. I'm just going to read you a few pieces of this. A spiral of time is different parts of my life. And, we're all looking forward to rock and roll. We got a great show, Eric and crickets and arithmetic. This is going to be a fantastic night. So what I want to do is I want to go back, I want to start when I was 5 going on 6 years old in Canada. Nobody caught that? Liar. It was California. All right. But this piece, the plastic always slips. That's why I never put one on, This piece is called Little Women. This is based on when I was about 5 years old. It was a sunny day in Palmdale, California. I was 5 years old, and I was walking around, checking out the neighborhood, looking for someone to play with. A few houses down, I spied 3 girls around my age playing in a sandbox. And as I moved closer, I noticed that they were making sand cakes. And suddenly, one of them looked at me, and then the others. "Hi," they said. "Hello," I said. "You want to play with us?" The pretty one in the middle asked, slamming her bucket down to dump out another dirt cake. Sure," I said. "Okay. But you have to eat one of my cakes," she said. "But that's a dirt cake," I said. "No, it's not," she said. "Eat it or you can't play with us." Well, I really wanted to play with them for a while, and I figured a few bites of sand cake wouldn't hurt anybody, so I picked one up and stuffed it into my mouth. The little girls yelled, clutching their faces as I swished the sand around in my mouth and then swallowed. I felt a little queasy, but the girls were definitely impressed. They wanted to know everything about me. After talking a while, we walked up the street and I showed them where I lived. The garage door was open. "Ooh," the little red-headed girl said. "Let's go into the garage and play a neat game." "Sure," I said, even though I knew I was forbidden to go into the garage. But I figured, hey, I'm not alone. I got these beautiful young ladies with me. As soon as we got in start, they all started giggling, And the black-haired one looked at me, and then they looked at each other. "You want to play with us?" the blonde said. And I said, "Yeah," I said. "You promise not to tell anybody?" "Yeah, I promise. I said, "Okay," they chimed in. "Pull your pants down and show us your thing. Then we will pull down our pants and show you ours." "What kind of game is this anyways?" I said. I said, "Do you want to play or not?" The little redhead said, crossing her arms and screwing up her face. "Okay," I said. I figured, why not? I have never seen a girl's thing before. I wasn't sure what they had down there. I hadn't really thought about it before, but now I really wanted to see it. So I yanked my jeans and underwear down to my ankles. And when I straightened myself up, I saw 3 little girls running out of the garage door and down the street, screaming and laughing all the way. And as I stood there alone in the garage, pants around my ankles, it dawned on me that women can be quite deceptive. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, that's a bitch growing up sometimes. Okay, well, we'll move from 5 years old. Like, I left home when I was like 17. I started moving out, you know, and we'll move up to that time. And I was in a Catholic school for about 2-3 years. What a fucking crazy experience that was. And so I want to read for you now, A Catholic Kid. That was written just before I left home. Blind faith, vagabond, man-child. Astral body rises, shoots up and out through the roof, heading due north while earth vehicle heads south with flesh and bone suit. Symphony of movement, song, dance, and flesh. Tornadoes, stars, winds racing through tunnels, jewel-headed figures out in the aisles, connected by a fine silver thread. Howling sounds rolling across the surface of hills, and just up ahead, a truck driver's oasis, a pink plastic crucifix dangling from the rear view mirror. My grammar was lousy. If it wasn't for my poetry writing, I would have flunked English. Through the years, I became accustomed to having my poems returned with a consistent note in red. I don't know what you are talking about, but it sure sounds good. I'm giving you a B+. I remember a school buddy of mine listening to me pour out my soul all night over a kitchen table in a dingy little apartment in the back of the midnight hour. The next day he says to me, I don't know what you were talking about, man, but it sure sounded good. I remember the nuns complaining about me to my parents when I was in 5th grade. He's in a world of his own, Mr. and Mrs. Pollock. He doesn't seem to want to come out and join us in the real world. Is that right, Michael? Silence. I wouldn't say what I felt or what I knew. I knew it would sound good, but they wouldn't understand. I wanted to skip school. I wanted to fuck the fairest nun. I wanted to join a rock and roll band. Did they ever begin to guess what went on in the mind of this skinny little freckle-faced bologna eater seemingly absorbed by Bozo the Clown during lunch recess? Did they know that my bicycle was a motorcycle, that my teddy bear was Jill St. John, that my biggest desire was to retire from this world that they offered? I didn't trust anybody. I despised my school uniform. I lied in the confessional that I took the host out of my mouth to see if it bled. Probably not. I wasn't about to tell them. Not yet. At night, safely under the covers, I put my hand over my cock, and I wondered, if God sees this, will I go to hell? And I fell asleep dreaming what I wanted to. Thank you very much. And thank you for your patience. Yeah, I'm gonna move up to about 1975. Me and Daniel and John Plutchuk, that was his name. We went to Niles, Illinois. We saw Muddy Waters in this small club. By then, he was playing like stadiums and all that kind of shit. But you know, when he was off the road, he would go and play in small clubs. And so he was like a you know, punk, rock and roll, grunge, you know. Such an inspiration, so raw, so true. And so I call this one the Hoochie Coochie Man. I got off a train in Niles, Illinois. A black cross-eyed albino pointed out into space and said, "That way." We walked over to a corner liquor store and picked up a half pint of Jack Daniels, walked down the road, sat in the bushes, screwed off the top of the bottle, took a hit, and fired up a joint. We were going to a small club to see and sit at the feel of a holy man. The big black Buddha of the blues, godfather of rock and roll, Muddy Waters. He sat on a bar stool with a red Telecaster in his hands. His smile lit up the whole room. An owl-eyed drummer pounded out the beat, and the best spider-fingered piano player I've ever heard tickled every nerve in my body. Everything's gonna be alright this morning. Oh, yeah. There wasn't a doubt in my mind, or anybody else's, as we rose up out of our seats and got down big time and danced with the Hoochie Coochie Man. Thank you very much. Bless you all. You're in for a great concert tonight. So y'all have a good time. I wish you all love and blessings. Thank you.